Jeopardy! Hello, everybody, and welcome to episode 2 of our Jeopardy farewell tour. Today, I'm here with 3 teachers from the English department. We have with us Mr. Kane, an AP English 11 teacher, Mrs. Burns, an Honors American Literature and Language Enrichment teacher, and Mr. Kern, a 10th and 11th grade screenwriting teacher. I'm your host, Andrew Bench. Once again, thank you, Maddie. Thank you, Olaf. And of course, thank you to Mr. Bellissimo. Without further ado, let's get right into the game. Today's categories are novels with conflict. Each answer is the conflict the book talks about. Plays and playwrights. Books and authors. 1970s song titles. And lastly, grammar. Which one of you is the oldest?
Not it.
Right. Mr. Kern, then you get to choose where you'd like to go first.
Ah, cool. I will take grammar for 200.
As in this clue, ending a sentence with one of these is a practice some don't agree with. Mr. Kern.
What is a period?
That is incorrect. Ms. Burns.
What is a preposition?
That is correct.
Much for
Plus.
those Grammar Friday lessons.
Word.
Done into sentence
Yep.
with a
Try
preposition.
again.
You learned that in
Yes.
Beavis and Butthead.
That's
Miss-
it. You got it.
That was in the movie.
Ms. Burns.
Let's try 70 song titles for 200.
You'd think that people would have had enough of this 1976 Paul McCartney hit, but I look around me and I see it isn't so.
Way to use those 1980s song title categories that we didn't get.
I had to switch it up for you guys.
Yeah.
Any guesses?
No, this one isn't ringing a bell.
Nope.
Correct answer is Silly Love Songs by Wings.
Ah.
We even played it on the
That's a
announcements
$1,000
last week.
question.
Oh, you're not going to like the other ones then. Ms. Burns, you still have the board.
Okay, plays and playwrights for 200.
Daniel Day-Lewis, who starred in The Crucible on film, was this playwright's son-in-law, Mr.
Who
Kane.
was Arthur Miller?
That is correct.
Get out!
I don't even
That's
teach that
interesting.
anymore. Let you guys have it. Let's keep going. Plays and playwrights for 400.
Pittsburgh's African-American Cultural Center was renamed for this piano lesson author who was born in Pittsburgh, Mr. Kane.
I just clicked the thing real quick, so I'm going to hope that it is Who is August Wilson?
That is correct.
Yes.
Yeah.
Hey, keep the hot streak going here. 600. Plays and playwrights.
He got the title for Who's Afraid of Virginia Woolf from graffiti scrawled on a mirror in a New York saloon.
If only Holden Caulfield was a playwright.
I think
Got nothing here.
yeah.
Nothing. The correct answer is Who is Edward Albee?
Edward Albee.
I have no idea who that last person.
No.
No,
At first,
yeah.
I was just gonna
Maybe.
guess a New York City saloon that I could have
All right.
Right.
Mr. Kane.
Let's switch it up. Books and authors, 200.
In Her Little Town on the Prairie, the main character turns 15 and is getting ready to teach school.
What's her name? I can picture the TV show. Yeah.
Mr. Curran.
Who is Laura Ingalls Wilder?
That is correct.
done.
Good job. Someone's been watching Lifetime.
Mr. Curran, back to you.
Let's go grammar for 400.
It's the correspondence in number of a subject and a verb, and it aren't found in this clue. Mr. Kane.
Subject-verb agreement?
That is correct.
What is subject-verb agreement?
Yes, that is
Thank
correct.
you for not calling me out.
You corrected yourself. It's all good.
Okay. Let's try that novels with conflict for 200.
All Quiet on the Western Front by Eric Maria Remarque. Mr. Kane.
World War I.
Correct.
What is World War I?
That is correct.
Good deal. Let's do that. Novels with conflict, 400.
MASH by Richard Hooker. Mr. Kane.
What is the Korean War?
That is correct. Crushing it. Where would you like to go?
Hey, novels with conflict, 600.
Who invited him, first of all?
Going After Cassiato by Tim O'Brien.
I got it, yes.
Eh,
Miss Burns.
what is Vietnam?
That is correct.
That's what I figured.
Yeah, he wrote the things they carried.
Right.
Yeah.
Oh.
Is that part of it?
Let's go back to the 70s song titles. 400, yes.
This 1976 Barry Manilow hit made the whole world sing and the young girls cry.
He still makes people cry.
Mr. Curran, did you know you were...
Barry Manilow. Does Barry Manilow know that you made his wardrobe?
Sure. No, he did the Copacabana, but that's not it, right?
Nope.
Taking an L on this one.
What is I Write the Song?
I write the songs.
I just removed Barry Manilow from like my memory
try
things.
to. Okay, what do we do now?
Whatever you want to do.
Let's try books and authors, 400.
Hugh Lofting's letters to his kids from the World War I front evolved into the tales of this physician who talks to animals. Mr. Kane.
What is Dr. Doolittle?
That is correct. Mr. Kane, back to you.
We'll do books and authors, 600.
In George Orwell's 1984, Big Brother represents the Soviet dictator, Mr. Kane.
Who is Joseph Stalin?
That is correct. That was my bad.
Trying to shut me out here. Let's make Mr. Kern happy. Grammar for 600.
Straightforward term for the type of object that follows a transitive verb. Mr. Curran.
What is a direct object?
That is correct.
Yeah, I clicked that way before you did.
Mr. Curran, back to you.
Grammar for 800.
Highest is an example of one of these. Miss Burns.
What is a superlative?
That is correct.
Ooh.
Miss Burns.
Okay, I'm gonna get one of these right. 70 song titles.
This #1 song by Harry Chapin was inspired by his relationship with his son. Chapin said the song scared him to death. Miss Burns.
What is the cat in the cradle?
That is correct. You got it.
That's who sings that song.
Yeah, I sang it just like him too,
Yeah.
right there. Keep going with 70 song titles.
In 1972, this colorful tune was a #1 hit for Neil Diamond. Miss Burns.
Ooh, what is Forever in Blue Jeans?
That is incorrect.
Should have gone with Sweet Caroline.
You got the right color.
What other blue? Oh,
Do you know it now?
no.
You want to whisper something over here?
I can hear it in my head, but I don't know if is the title just blue?
The correct answer is Song Sung Blue. Miss Burns, you still have it.
Well, let's clear it out. 70
Thank
song
you.
titles.
This Three Dog Night tune was coming down in 3-part harmony. Mr. Kern.
What is joy to the world?
That is incorrect.
Oh, that's what I
Good
would've
guess, good
guessed,
guess.
too.
Well, I took out my chance.
Nothing? You want to guess?
Nothing here.
What
Minus
is
1400.
an old-fashioned love song?
Oh.
Oh, is it still my turn?
You still have it.
Plays and playwrights.
Which one?
800.
This playwright of Les Misanthropes is said to be the greatest of all writers of French comedy, Mrs. Burns.
I did not mean to do that.
I never read him.
Yeah,
That's good.
nope. I don't know why I hit the buzzer. Yep, sorry about that. False alarm.
French comedy. I didn't know they were funny.
Yeah. Or,
Too bad I didn't finish that French minor.
Correct answer is Who is Moliere?
oh,
Moliere.
You still have it, Miss Burns.
It's another breakfast club.
jeez. Ditch Q. Books and
No day.
authors, 800.
His third novel, Mother Night, was his first to ban in science fiction, Mr. Kane.
Who is Kurt Vonnegut?
That is correct. You have the board again.
Finish it off for 1,000.
His 1935 novel, It Can't Happen Here, is a cautionary tale about the rise of fascism in the United States.
Yeah. You got me.
Yeah.
Correct answer is Who is Sinclair Lewis? It isn't a $1,000 question. Got to make it tough. Mr. Kane?
Novels with conflict, 800.
The Last Full Measure by Jeff Shera.
That was a conflict, all right.
Yeah.
If it helps, all the conflicts in the category are conflicts that America fought in.
Wars. so which one have we not named yet?
You got World War I, Korea, and
Vietnam.
Vietnam.
What is
Mr.
World War
Kern.
II?
That is incorrect.
Well, we know our answer for 1,000 when that one comes.
The last full measure, the war to end all wars.
Yeah.
The correct
Civil
answer
War.
is the American Civil War.
Oh, well.
Mr. Kane,
All right, let's see if we got World War II here with novels with conflict.
Rabble in Arms by Kenneth Arms.
He's naming himself.
You don't want to test your
I
theory?
don't know. We got Revolutionary War too, so
Right.
You said it. Revolutionary War.
Revolutionary
Mr. Kane, you still have the board. I think we only have a couple left.
yeah, we'll do. Let's finish out plays and playwrights, please.
Jason Miller ended his play Barrymore's Ghost with these 4 words, the last that Hamlet speaks in Hamlet.
Where's Mr. Timko when you need him?
The correct answer is The Rest is Silence. Last one,
Way to go out.
grammar for 1,000.
Oh, right.
Like crowd or troop, it's a noun that is singular in form but denotes a group. Mr. Kane.
What is a collective now?
That is correct. I forgot to ask you guys about yourselves. Would you like to do it now? I guess no better time than right now.
Sure.
So, Mr. Kane, we'll start with you. And you had mentioned earlier that you have some posters of
I have
somebody.
posters of famous Americans like in my
Yeah.
room. Well, not really famous Americans, famous people. So like William Shakespeare's right there, and then next to him is Mr. Kern doing his pose for Slippery Rock U football.
Okay.
So people ask, why do you have Mr. Kern? I go, you think of 2 great contributors to the English language, Billy Shakespeare and
So it's kind of like
Mr. John Kern.
like an inspirational thing.
I think so. Yeah, I mean, Rock 88 inspires many people to do great things in my room. So
I like it. Now, Miss Burns, I think anybody that even has heard of you knows that you're a massive Bruce Springsteen fan.
That's
But
right.
I would like to ask you about other artists that you listen to and like. I know Bruce is
Right.
way up
at the
here,
top,
but I'm
yeah.
curious as to what else you listen to, because you wrote down some stuff. But
I did. That's true. Yes. Do you think Bruce is watching right now? By the
No.
way, hi Bruce.
I'll tweet it at him after we do it if you want. So
No, I do. I love Van Morrison and Tom Petty and Fleetwood Mac. I did listen, and now I'm like obsessed with the Hamilton soundtrack. So I'm really broadening
Branching out.
into musicals too.
and you
Yeah.
played in your class all the time,
Right. Yeah.
especially Van Morrison and the Tom Petty.
Yeah.
Outcast, you were listening to Outcast the other day.
Yes.
Very cool.
Yep. Yep.
Mr. Kern,
Yes.
you had mentioned that in your senior yearbook, you
Correct.
wrote down some interesting responses to your favorite hobbies.
Hobbies are street fighting and fishing.
Now, do you actually do either one?
I did
Both.
when I was younger,
Okay.
but I'm old now, so
Just the street fighting and not the fishing now?
no.
Just one
Other way
help with
around.
the other.
All right, we'll go right into Final Jeopardy. Mr. Kern, you can wager up to 2,000. The prompt for Final
Sure.
Jeopardy
We'll just bet it all.
is American icons. It-
No.
Not named Bruce.
No.
Okay.
Ready for the prompt?
Mm-hmm.
He has a Medal of Freedom, a Pulitzer citation, a Nobel Prize, and membership in the Rock and Roll and Minnesota Music Halls of Fame. You have roughly 30 seconds. All right.
I didn't know he was from Minnesota.
I did. There's not many. He's got to be the only one that has a Nobel Prize and is in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. I would think.
Right.
We'll start with Mr. Kane. Mr. Kane, you had $4,400, so you didn't really need to wager anything, but you wagered.
Interesting here.
You wrote down who is Bob Dylan, which is correct. and you wagered $1,600, so that puts you up to $6,000.
For the win, you have to sing a Bob Dylan song, though, for the record.
Yeah.
Hattie really likes Bob. She's in a Bobby D phase.
Miss Burns, you also guessed correctly who's Bob Dylan, and you wagered $600.
That wasn't a guess, Alex.
You wrote it very quickly, too.
You knew. You knew it. You knew it was Bob Dylan. So that brings you up to $1,200. And you also wrote down Someday Bruce Springsteen. I wouldn't doubt it.
Yeah, bonus points.
Mr. Curran, you also guessed correctly who's
That's what
Bob
you wrote
Dylan.
down.
And you wagered $2,000.
Someday, Bruce.
So that brings you up to $800, making Mr. Kane our big winner.
Woo! Lunch is on Mr. Kane.
That's it.
Yay. All right.
I want to play again.
Thank you for watching episode 2 of our farewell tour. Stay tuned for more Jeopardy coming soon.